Now, lately, chat, I've been on a little Star Wars kick. Mainly because I'm sure Star Wars is dead. Star Wars has been dead for quite some time, and I feel like if you're not a hardcore Star Wars fan, you don't really keep up anymore. I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan. I grew up with that shit, so I'm gonna like Star Wars till the day I die. But the reason I've been on such a Star Wars kick is because of the show that's coming out right now on Disney Plus, Ahsoka. Straight peak. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but honestly, it's straight peak. So what I kind of want to do was make a Star Wars tier list today. Now I've made a couple of these before, but I feel like now is a good time to revisit and see if any of my opinions have changed. So here we go. First things first. I think we should start in episodic order. Starting with, and you guys can rate these as we go. Now, let me give you guys a little rundown. I have been a freaking Star Wars fan my entire life, chat. Since the day I was born, I came out with a lightsaber in my hand, bro. Star Wars, I probably know more lore. I probably know more things about Star Wars than I do probably about the real world. I know the ins and outs of some characters' psyches and their one of my cats is over there scratching himself. My cats have cones on their head right now. I probably know more about Star Wars than I do know about the real world. I'll be honest with you guys. So I just wanted to warn you guys. I'm a hardcore Star Wars fan, and you'll see how much of a hardcore Star Wars fan I am when we get to the rating the sequel trilogy. But we'll get there when we get there. All right, Episode 1. Where is Star Wars: The Phantom Menace? Here it is, The Phantom Menace. Okay. So a lot of people say, The Phantom Menace is the worst prequel movie. I personally disagree. I don't think The Phantom Menace is that bad. I would like, I do wish that Anakin was Hayden Christensen in this movie, like a young teenage Hayden Christensen. It would have made more sense with the whole love story with him and Padme. It wouldn't have been as weird because there's a 10-year difference. He's like 9, she's like 19 in this movie. It's weird. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like it. So if they would have just cast Hayden Christensen in this movie, it would have fixed a lot of problems, in my opinion. But I don't think this movie is actually that bad. The final scene is good. The final fight is great. The Duel of the Fate song is great. The pod race scene still holds up today, in my opinion. I think it's great. We get an introduction to Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, one of the coolest Jedis, Ewan McGregor as the GOAT Obi-Wan. I'm going to put this one in C tier. Now, I'm going to say right now, a lot of these are subject to change depending on where I put the sequel movies. So we'll get to that. But I don't think The Phantom Menace is that bad. B tier? That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's right now either between B and C, but I'm going to put C for now. And like I said, things can change in the future. So now episode 2. I personally believe this is the worst one out of the prequel trilogy. The dialogue is horrendous. It is shit. Watching the Padme and Anakin love story scenes, it's so cringe. It's so bad. It's damn near unwatchable. I'm gonna be honest with you. But everything else in this movie is pretty good. The beginning scene where they hunt down that bounty hunter, flying through Coruscant. We got the Geonosis fight scene, the droid factory, Obi-Wan going to the clone planet Kamino. It was great. So, but the thing is, I'm telling you, and trust me, I love the prequels too, and I love this movie, don't get me wrong, but it is hard. It is difficult to sit through the Padme and Anakin scenes. Every single time I watch those scenes, I physically get an ick. It's uncomfortable to watch. He should have clapped out. Hey, yo. Yeah, stuff in F tier. I wouldn't say this is F tier because everything besides the Anakin and Padme love story is pretty good in this movie. But that is such a big and integral part of the whole Star Wars mythos. Anakin's relationship with Padme, and they fumbled it, bro. They fumbled it so hard. So as of right now, I'm gonna put it in D tier. But like I said, guys, it's subject to change. I'm telling you, it's just hard to get through those Anakin and Padme love scenes. It's hard, chat. It is hard. Next one. Need I say more, chat? If you're a big diehard Star Wars fan, you would know that, you know, it's peak. This is straight peak. Revenge of the Sith is easily the best out of the prequels. Yeah, you know, it didn't... let's be honest, the prequels didn't do a good job justifying Anakin's turn to the dark side. But that's why we have the Clone Wars and we have all this other expanded stuff, which is great, which really helped. But, you know, the one thing I will say in Revenge of the Sith, you know, Anakin's turn felt rushed. For sure. For sure. But other than that, the soundtrack, godly. I listen to the soundtrack while I'm in the fucking gym, bro, hitting the weights. The duels in this movie, peak. Oh my god. The costume design, peak. Everything is straight peak about this movie, except Anakin's turn. And, yeah. But I personally, I like Anakin's turn. I understand his character. After watching more, like, deep dive videos, after watching other, like, Star Wars projects, you understand it a lot, especially watching Clone Wars. Clone Wars is a big help, too, for sure. Monakage, is Darth Vader the GOAT or nah? Yes, for sure. Darth Vader is the GOAT. And I actually want to run a little polly poll, real quick. Chat. Is Darth Vader the most iconic villain of all time? Let's be like objective. I personally think he is. Yes. No, I think I spelled villain wrong. It's okay though. I personally think Darth Vader is the most well-known, popular villain in fiction history, bro. I also personally believe the story of Darth Vader is the best ever written. That's just me though. That's just me. Personal opinion. But yeah. Revenge of the Sith, easily S tier. Just the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight scene alone it makes this movie an S tier for sure. Let me see this poll. I want to see this poll. What do we got here? Yes, 60% of you say yes. What for the 40% of you that's saying he isn't, who would you say is the most iconic? You can say Joker, maybe. But everybody knows Vader's breathing, bro. Everybody. Alright, let's keep moving. Episode 4. Episode 4. A New Hope. The one that started it all. I think A New Hope, personally, for me, A New Hope has a vibe that no other Star Wars movie has. Because obviously it's the first one. And it feels so gritty and realistic. Because everything is real. It's all props. And I think that's pretty cool. The one thing that this movie lacks is obviously like lightsaber fight scenes. But it's the first one. You know, you gotta let it... You gotta give it some leeway for sure. Goated movie. The thing that started it all. It's crazy how the first one did so well. You know what I'm saying? Like, they did it so well. And they expanded off it. Doing it even better. Death Star, we get Darth Vader, we get old Obi-Wan, we get Luke, Leia, Han, everything. It's all great. Bro said Goblin, the Green Goblin? They shouldn't have killed off Darth Vader. That was just the whole point, though. That's part of the story. It makes everything so good. Me, personally, I think the most iconic is Green Goblin. So if you went to China, right? And you said, hey, do you know this person? And you showed them Green Goblin, you think they know that. But if you just went up to somebody in China and like, oh, do you know this? Everybody would know that. That's so iconic. In my opinion. Okay, let's continue. So yeah, I think A New Hope, great peak. Empire Strikes Back, need I say more? I do think as a film, as a movie, I think Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. Yeah, I mean, it's well written. The dialogue isn't cringe like some of the other Star Wars movies. The villains actually win for once. It's great. And then we get Yoda. We get the oh, it's so good. I think Joker got it. You think Joker? Okay. I mean, yeah, I mean. Dr. Octavius? What the hell? I'm a Batman meat writer, but Vader is just is so much better. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this one is very controversial at all. I mean, the Luke and Darth Vader fight scene is good enough. The I am your father twist. Come on, guys. Nobody knew that, especially when this movie came out. Nobody really expected that. That was insane. This is, in my opinion, the best Star Wars movie. As a movie, This is really good. But as a Star Wars movie, I think Revenge of the Sith is better. If that makes any sense at all. The creator of Star Wars is from my hometown. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Darth Vader versus Ben Solo. Who's gonna win Monakage? I think Darth Vader would shit on Kylo Ren. Okay, episode 6. Episode 6 is good. I do think episode 6 is probably the worst out of the original trilogy. Not saying it's bad, but it's probably the worst. Because they bring back the Death Star, you know, they didn't gotta do that. The Tatooine, the beginning of the movie where they go to save Han Solo, drags on for a long freaking time, bro. It takes a long time. The Ewoks, you know, Ewoks are cool. I love the Ewoks, but like, this is the finale of the trilogy, bro, of Star Wars. The Empire is finally coming to an end, and you get little teddy bears to fight the Empire. I don't know. I feel like it should have taken place on Coruscant, but obviously at the time when George was making this, I don't think he knew about Coruscant like that. He didn't like think of Coruscant, but for what it is, I think it's good. I think this is a perfect B-tier Star Wars movie, though. Yeah, I think Return of the Jedi is the thing is with Return of the Jedi, in my opinion, the best parts of Return of the Jedi is Slave Leia and the Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker stuff. That's the best part of the whole movie. And then I guess also when Obi-Wan and Yoda, when Luke goes to Dagobah and talks to Yoda before he dies, and then he finds out Leia's his sister. That's cool. But episode 6 was kind of a snooze fest, to be honest. Needs to be C. I don't know if it needs to be C. I would say, no, it cannot be C, bro. Return of the Jedi is so much, it is better than Phantom Menace. It is. And honestly, let's be honest, the Luke and Vader stuff does carry this movie. It is true. But seeing Vader redeem himself, and that whole storyline and plotline come to an end, basically seeing the death of Anakin Skywalker alone is cool enough. This is B tier for me. Personally, this is B tier for me. If it's C tier for you, I get it. I definitely get it, because it is easily the worst one out of the original trilogy. But I would say B tier. Root Beer wanted to say hello. Say hello, Root Beer. He's pissed, bro. He's pissed. So they got their balls cut off, chat. I don't know if I told you guys. They got their balls cut off. And they have to wear cones, because if they don't wear cones on their head, they're gonna lick that area. And there's like they made incisions, so if they keep licking that area, it'll probably like open up the wound. So they have to keep cones on them. Yeah. So I'm sorry, little boy Root Beer, but he's pissed, bro. Oh, there's Piper. Piper's over there. They both got cones on their head, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not abusing them. It's just true. All right. See ya, Ace. Okay, where were we? Return of the Jedi's B tier. Okay, I feel like this is a pretty valid Star Wars list so far. We got no Clone Wars? Oh, no. How do we have... Oh, my gosh. Okay, so we have no Clone Wars, chat. I didn't notice that. But, Clone Wars would go S tier as well. Not the movie, but the show. The show would easily go S tier for me. For sure, without a doubt. So that's my ranking on Clone Wars. Clone Wars would be S tier for sure. And then I guess let's move to... I guess we can move to the sequel trilogy, and then we'll knock out all the shows in one go. So let's go with the sequel trilogy. Where is The Force Awakens? Now, The Force Awakens was honestly not terrible. Not terrible. But what happens after The Force Awakens is terrible. The thing is with The Force Awakens is by itself, it's not that bad of a Star Wars movie, but what happens afterwards does affect The Force Awakens. I don't like how Rey is a Palpatine. I don't like how she calls herself a Skywalker. I don't like how they wasted Finn's potential being a Jedi. I don't like Kylo. I mean, Kylo Ren's cool, but he's literally a bad guy just to be bad. They never explain why he's a bad guy, why he turns to the dark side, other than the fact that he wants to finish what Darth Vader started. But he doesn't understand that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker, and Anakin Skywalker turned back to the light side in the very end. I hate it. And then the fact that they bring Starkiller Base back, which is basically just the Death Star. Han Solo dies. And we never get to see Luke, Leia, and Han all reunite in the sequel trilogy. I don't like it. So, but like I said, by itself, The Force Awakens isn't bad. But when you bring in the other sequel movies, it's bad. Putting any of the sequels above the prequels is wild. Okay, well hold. I'm still speaking on it. Now, if we're okay, I'm gonna give you 2 different ratings for The Force Awakens because I truly do believe that this isn't that bad of a Star Wars movie, but with everything else, like 8 and 9, it's pretty bad. Also, the fact that Rey's from another sand planet, it's all just a rehash. It's all a rehash and it's all bad. By itself, I would say The Force Awakens, by itself, is D tier. But the fact that it's the sequel trilogy, it's D tier. Below Phantom Menace. Below Phantom Menace. Yeah, I mean, I can see the thing is with The Force Awakens, I can rewatch The Force Awakens. Any of the other sequel movies, I cannot rewatch. It's just that bad. So, you know, it is what it is. And I've actually seen The Force Awakens more than any of the other sequel movies. Next up, The Last Jedi. In my opinion, the movie that ruined it all. Do I really have to say anything? As a movie, it looks great. This is probably one of the best looking Star Wars movies. Why they kill off all the OG characters though? I can't tell you, chat. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. We didn't even get them all reunited. No, they just instantly killed them off. I heard Lucasfilms is getting back the rights to Star Wars. Maybe it's that. Japan, I heard that too. It's a rumor. It's fake. That's not happening. That is just straight up not happening. Getting back to The Last Jedi. It totally killed Luke Skywalker's character. It makes no sense why Luke Skywalker would try to attempt to kill Ben Solo. Even think about it. I don't even know why he would even think about it. Rey being a nobody is better than her being a Palpatine. Once again, Ben Solo being a bad guy just to be a bad guy is stupid. And the whole Canto bite scene is stupid. And we get Finn wasted as a character. Luke Skywalker dies for no goddamn reason. Leia as Mary Poppins can fly through space and survive in the vacuum of space. I don't like Rose Tico. No, I'm sorry. It is, I will say, the best visually looking Star Wars movie in my opinion. Everything else, it sucks. I don't like it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I didn't like it. Not a fan. Next up, Star Wars Episode 9, the finale of the sequel Disney trilogy, The Rise of Skywalker. What did you guys think about this one? Did you guys ever see this one? I have some friends that are diehard Star Wars fans, but after they watched The Last Jedi, they just couldn't bring themselves to watch The Rise of Skywalker. I can tell you a little story about The Rise of Skywalker. I remember seeing that movie in theaters with, yeah, I remember I went to go see that movie in theaters, and it was a packed theater, obviously, so I was sitting right next to some random guy. And I remember at the last 30 minutes of the movie, I was sweating. I was physically sweating because I wanted them to end the movie sooner so they didn't ruin anything else. And I remember asking after the movie was over, I remember asking the guy that was sitting next to me, I was like, did you like that movie? And he was like, no, that was the worst thing ever. They ruined Star Wars. Something along those lines. It was along those lines. Rise of Skywalker, I don't know how you can manage from going to The Last Jedi, which is complete shit, to double shit. The Rise of Skywalker attempted to backtrack on everything The Last Jedi did, but did it even worse. They brought Palpatine back, meaning Anakin Skywalker and his whole character arc of him being the chosen one, bringing balance to the Force, is voided. The whole reason Palpatine died in Episode 6 was because Anakin Skywalker brought balance to the Force once again. But since he survived, Anakin's death was for nothing. It was for absolutely nothing. So not only did they ruin Luke Skywalker's character, but they also ruined Anakin Skywalker's legacy. It's so stupid, bro. Another episode of Finn being wasted doing nothing other than him screaming out Rey. Kylo Ren, once again being a bad guy just to be a bad guy, and all of a sudden turns to be a good guy. Rey is not a Skywalker. Kylo Ren and Rey kiss, even after Kylo trying to murder her the entire 2 movies. I don't understand. Leia just miraculously dies. Oh, and don't even get me started on Han Solo being a Force ghost. I understand he's not actually a Force ghost. It was more of like Ben Solo just seeing through his mind. I don't even know, bro. The Force. Explain it through the Force. I don't know. F tier. Both these movies are absolute F tier. I don't remember anything from Rise of Skywalker. Oh, I remember. Unfortunately, I remember because they ruined Star Wars with that one. So with the sequel ratings being over, I personally believe, in my head canon, the sequels are not canon. Star Wars ended after episode 6, and then now with all the Disney stuff that's coming out, I get to pick and choose what's canon in my head. So for example, Ahsoka so far has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Canon in my head, it's canon. Mandalorian season 1 and 2, they were pretty good. Canon in my head. Book of Boba Fett, it was pretty shit. Not canon. Obi-Wan. Oh, okay. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me. Let's get to the other stuff. Okay, so the rest of these are. Okay, we have 2 more movies. So let's rate these movies. Rogue One. I personally believe the Lego movies. We're not gonna rate those. We're not rating those. I personally believe Star Wars Rogue One is the best Disney Star Wars movie. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I take back what I said about The Last Jedi being the best looking Star Wars movie. Rogue One is the best looking Star Wars movie. With the cinematography for this movie is so good. It's so good. And the crazy thing is, it's just a band of misfits, like some random characters that I ended up liking at the end. They all die, which is very unfortunate, but it's actually kind of cool that they die. And then the end scene of Darth Vader, the hallway scene. Do I even need to? Come on, guys. It's, for me, it's borderline S tier, but I'm gonna contain myself and put A tier. I think this is the best Disney has done movie wise, since they've gotten the rights to Star Wars for sure. I think Rogue One's pretty good. Let me know how you guys think about that though. Next up, Solo, a Star Wars story. I've seen this once. I don't really remember too much about it. I know I don't remember it being horrible, but I don't remember it being great either. So I don't think it's on the level of Return of the Jedi. I would probably put it around Phantom Menace. It's probably not as cringe as Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones is probably more... Actually, Attack of the Clones is probably more entertaining to watch than Solo. But still, I'm telling you, those Anakin and Padme scenes really weigh it down for me personally. Is low B? You said low B? You think so? I would say C tier. I don't think it's Return of the Jedi level. The thing is, Japan, I don't really remember anything about this movie. I don't really remember anything besides the fact that Darth Maul had a little cameo. And, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't even tell you how this movie ended. I don't even remember. I know they do the Kessel Run, but I don't remember. And the girl, she's a baddie. She's a baddie. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably have to give this one another watch to see if it's actually good. Yeah, I mean, C tier. I'd say C tier for me personally. Now getting into the Star Wars shows. The Star Wars shows. Here we go, chat. Here we go. I feel like this is a pretty solid movie list so far. Now for the shows, we got Mandalorian Season 1. Mandalorian Season 1... Let me think. Mandalorian Season 1 was really good because it wasn't about anything Star Wars related. It was just some random Mandalorian doing bounties. You know, just some random. It felt so different compared to everything else. I'd say yeah, and Baby Yoda, Mandalorian, great characters, and the guy that says "I have spoken." I think that guy's great, and then he dies. The finale. By the way, the last episode of Mandalorian Season 1, peak, straight peak. I'd say Mandalorian Season 1 is A tier. Going straight to Season 2, I think Season 2 is S tier, especially with that ending. The ending is peak. Especially with Luke Skywalker coming in. I think that was a good send-off for Mandalorian. I think that could have... You probably could have ended the show right there. And then just kept Mandalorian doing his own thing in Season 3, like separate from Baby Yoda. And then maybe like in a different show or a different movie, we get Baby Yoda and Luke training. Yeah, okay, and now this is going into Season 3. I didn't like how they instantly brought Baby Yoda back, but I guess we should probably rate Book of Boba Fett first. I didn't like Book of Boba Fett. I didn't like the way they portrayed Boba Fett. I understand he went through character development with the Tusken Raiders. That's not really what I look for in Boba Fett. I look for this man to be a badass. And if he was gonna, I like the whole Kingpin idea and him taking up the role of Jabba the Hutt and taking his empire. But doing it in the way he did, I didn't enjoy. I feel like he could have, still been the badass Boba Fett that we all know and love. The only redeemable things, the show looked like shit. It looked really cheaply made. The motorcycle kids that joined Boba Fett, I didn't like. Hi, buddy. Hi, little boy. I'm sorry, root beer. It was cheaply made. The scooter kids I hated. The whole Boba Fett character development I didn't like. The only redeemable factor of this was the Mandalorian episodes and seeing Luke Skywalker, and that de-age or the CGI on Luke Skywalker looked peak. It looks so good, so good. But I don't like. I liked it. I liked that we saw Luke and Grogu, but I didn't like how that Mando took Grogu back. It felt like season 2, the ending of season 2 was nothing. I'm gonna put this in D tier. I didn't like Book of Boba Fett. The Mando episodes are great. Rogue One is a movie? Yeah, you didn't know that? Rogue One's a movie. Yeah, it's a movie. Yeah, I didn't like Book of Boba Fett, honestly. I didn't really like it. And I hope if he comes back, they do his character justice. But I don't know, it feels like a little too late to, I never watched, to be honest. I was ashamed to watch any or after Rise of the Sky. I don't blame you. A lot of Star Wars fans have checked out. A lot of Star Wars fans have checked out. The only Star Wars I watch after is The Mandalorian. I don't blame you. Mandalorian was really popular. Getting to season 3 of Mandalorian. By far the worst Mandalorian season. Easily. It was honestly a nothing season. I'm gonna put it in F tier. I understand I'm gonna get a lot of haters for that, but honestly, it was a absolutely nothing season. Nothing eventful happened in the season, and by the end of the season, Mando and Grogu are in the exact same spot that they started the season in. There was no ramifications for the season. There was no character development in the season. It was literally a nothing season. I have a friend that hasn't seen this season, but he's watched the other 2 Mandalorian seasons, and I told him to not even watch season 3 because it's a nothing season. Nothing happens in the season. The first 5 episodes, nothing happens, and then on the last 2 episodes, something finally happens. It's so a waste. It's a waste. It's a waste of a season for sure. And the fact that Grogu came back isn't cool. I feel like if they would have kept Grogu with Luke, Mando could have been on his own journey. And maybe he could have been depressed or something because he misses Grogu. And I don't know. He could have went on some sort of adventure. I don't know. But Mandalorian Season 3 is by far the worst Mandalorian season. It's shit. It's a nothing season. Next up, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, Obi-Wan Kenobi isn't terrible. God, I just sound like a Disney Star Wars hater. But it's just true. I know what I like in my Star Wars. And when you don't give it to me, I'm going to complain. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show should have been a movie. We all know that. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show should have been more about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker and not Reva. Why was this show so much about Reva? It's not called the Obi-Wan Kenobi and Reva show, or it's not called the Reva show. It's called the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So please, why is this show 50% Reva? I wanted to see more, and don't get me wrong, in the first episode they did a great job with I wanted to see more Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wanted to see more Obi-Wan Kenobi PTSD. I wanted to see some more Darth Vader. I wanted to see some more Darth Vader PTSD, and I wanted to see their little I want to see what they thought of each other. I want to see more. And also, I didn't like the fact that Reva knew who Darth Vader was. I didn't like how she survived not 1 but 2 stabbings from Anakin Skywalker. I didn't like how the Grand Inquisitor looked. I didn't like how cheaply the show looked. I didn't like how Obi-Wan Kenobi, after not training for 10 years, can miraculously beat Darth Vader, who has been constantly training in the dark side for 10 years, and Obi-Wan beats him. This show is so overall, I would say 80% of this show is bad. That the 20% of the show that is good is fire. Okay, now I'm gonna tell you what I like about the show. The Obi-Wan Kenobi stuff, the Darth Vader stuff. When Obi-Wan finds out that Anakin's alive and he tries to talk to, and he's constantly throughout the entire show, he's trying to communicate to Qui-Gon. He's like, Qui-Gon, what do I do? What do I do? And he finds out Anakin's alive. And then we see the shots of Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader going through the town, slaughtering the innocents. Oh my God, bro, that was so peak. It was so Darth Vader. And then Darth Vader dragging Obi-Wan through the fire, and then basically him saying, now I'm gonna do what you did to me type shit. Oh my God. And then when I did like the fight scene, the final scene in episode 6 where Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fought. I liked it, but I didn't like how Obi-Wan so easily beat Vader. But since he did beat Vader, we got the scene of him saying, I'm sorry, Anakin, for all of it. And that is just straight peak. It's just, that's what I wanted. That's what I want. That's what I wanted the entire time. That's what I wanted. So, you know, like I said, 80% of the show is shit, but that 20% that is good is fucking good, bro. It is good. So, C tier. I'll leave it in C tier. I'll leave it in C tier. Like I said, Clone Wars goes at S tier. The Clone Wars movie goes at C tier for me. Andor, I have yet to see Andor. If you guys are wondering why I haven't rated this one yet, I've heard it's pretty good, but I'm not gonna rate it because I haven't seen it. So this is my Star Wars tier list, chat. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Obi-Wan has the anime plot. He does have, yeah, he literally had plot armor. He wasn't training for 10 years, and then he miraculously beats Vader after one encounter. Should Darth Vader get his own show? I don't think Darth Vader should get his own show. He should get his own movie. I feel like the thing is with Vader, if we get too much Vader, it's like not like good. You know how like, okay. So it's kind of like think of Vader as like Halloween as a kid. You know, when you're a kid and Halloween comes around, you're like, oh, let's go. I can finally have all this junk food for this one time of the year. I can finally do it. That's how I kind of like think they should treat Vader. You got to treat Vader very like correctly, because if you do too much Vader, it's not good. But if you do too little Vader, you're gonna want me wanting more. So I think with Vader, you got to do a movie, not a show. And also, this is Darth Vader. Darth Vader deserves more than a goddamn fucking TV show. This is Darth Vader, the most iconic supervillain of all fucking time, bro. This dude deserves a movie. Yoda needs his own show. If Yoda's gonna get his own show, it's probably gonna be an animated show. Yeah, but yeah, this is my tier list, chat. I had a fun time making this tier list. This is great. Do you guys agree with this tier list, by the way?